On today's episode 277 of the JAS Takhar podcast, I answer the questions, what do you do when a client is ghosting you after having an appointment, either a listing appointment or doing showings? And what's JAS Takhar's guilty pleasures? All right, Bo, let's get started with the first question.
Okay, the first question is from Darren. What's the best way to handle a client who suddenly ghosts you after weeks of showing them homes? Do you move on or try to reconnect?
Well, I would definitely try to reconnect. My rule of thumb is I reach out to people 3 times, and then the 3rd time I leave a voicemail, just very politely saying, prospect, client, I've tried to reach you a couple of times and you're probably busy. Just so I know if there's anything else I can help you with, let me know, reach back out to me. But I'm leaving the ball in your court, prospect / customer client. Why? Well, because look, if they've ghosted you from a phone call or text messages or even emails, that means something came up, like from the perspective, of they might just now have changed their mind. They're not interested in your service. They're not interested in moving forward in terms of buying a home or selling a home or investing into a home. And now they don't want to get back to you. When, look, you know that when people are interested, you're having consistent conversations with them, sometimes like multiple 10, 12 times in a day, booking a showing, talking about the property that you saw. Now, what I would do is when that person, even if they don't reach back out after that 3rd phone call, I'm going to put them into my mailing list, into my CRM. Obviously, I'm hoping that you already had them in there, and then you're going to get their, your bi-weekly emails that are value-packed, information-packed, educational, inviting them to events, and then I'll reach back out to them in another 4 months or so. There's this thought and thesis that I have that you should be sorting, not convincing. And that's for all salespeople. This notion that you can convince and or manipulate people in 2025, that's old school thinking. People are way too smart for that. They smell you before you're coming, and they smell you by your commission breath. And so why not just have the thought process of, let me sort. Now, to sort, for the people that are ready to go, they're qualified, they're going to introduce you to more people. You know that like type A client, A+ client, qualified, ready to go, takes your advice, as well as will introduce you to more people, because that's how you're going to grow your business. Let's just go find more of those. And so that's why I've been harping since I've been, in the coaching industry, and even when I wasn't, about the importance of reaching out to more people in person or online. What's next, Bo?
I have a question from Jasmine. Do you think attending real estate conferences is worth the money, or is it better to invest in personal development in other ways?
The short answer is both. And understand that if you're attending real estate conferences in person or online, you are essentially investing into yourself. Now, as a real estate investor, first and foremost, then a real estate broker, I have found that the highest return that I've ever gotten, and so that means I put in $1, and then what did I get back on top of the $1 that I put in? That is ROI, return on your investment. I have received the highest return on my investment, investing into myself. Personal development, flying to seminars, going to conferences, reading books, listening to podcasts, downloading videos when they cost you money. And I've been in the whole personal development, self-help kind of realm for the last over 22, 23 years now. And so I have spent hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm probably nearing $1 million. Hotel costs, flights, the tickets for the conference, for the seminar. I'm approaching about $1 million. I don't look at it that was an expense or I spent the money frivolously. I look at it as an investment. I invested into myself. But real estate conferences, you can be meeting thousands of people at these conferences. I actually think what's more important than the people speaking from stage, and this is coming from a guy that loves speaking from stage and loves when the room is packed and when there's a couple of thousand people. I love that. But the truth is, where I actually got most of the value at these conferences is not listening to the speakers. There's definitely value there. It was what was happening before the speaking event. It's what happens when you have those mixers, the cocktail hour, the dinners that come out of there, the relationships that I built over this past 23 years going to conferences. I can't even put a dollar on it anymore. It's in the millions upon millions of dollars. Why? I met somebody, I got some education, I got some information, but at bare minimum, I always got a connection that was made to someone else. So I'm talking to Bo at the conference. Maybe him and I can't help each other right now. We stay in touch. He does business. I do business with him in the future. But on top of that, it was, well, even if Bo and I are not going to collaborate on something right then and there, he thinks of somebody like, oh, Jazz, you got to meet my boy Clyde. He can probably help you with X, Y, and Z. Or vice versa. Bo, like, I can't really bring you much value, brother, from like a personal perspective, but I got a huge Rolodex. Let me open it up and make connections. So the answer is both. Understand that you're doing both by going to real estate conferences. Yes, you need to spend money. Look, this podcast is free. I like to think it's very valuable. Obviously, I'm biased, but at the end of the day, you're only getting so much, right? You have to spend money to get to the next level. What got you where you currently are, good or bad? Huge results in a positive way, negative results, will not now get you to the next level. For you to get to the next level, you have to become a better version of yourself. Otherwise, you're just gonna stay where you are. Now, for some of you, that's okay. You're happy. Who the hell am I to tell you that you should want more? If you want more out of your life, out of your business, you have to be okay with investing into yourself. You have to be okay with spending money. The wealthy didn't become wealthy by hoarding their cash. What they did is put it into the marketplace through investing into property, stock market, Bitcoin, as well as investing into themselves. You look at any uber wealthy person, he or she will tell you they went to conferences, they read a book a day, some of these guys and some of these gals. And for you to think that you're going to be able to hold on to your money and actually create wealth, I got news for you. You'd be the first person that would do it. And I just don't think it's going to happen. And so even having the thought, like when you know something's a good idea, like a coaching program, and I'm not just saying that because I have a coaching academy, or a book, or a conference, the second you think to yourself that I don't have the money, the universe will reward you with whatever you're thinking about. Meaning, the universe is going to say, you're right. Here's more reasons to show you how you don't have money. The question that you should be asking yourself is, how can I get the money? That's the question, because then the universe will give you ways that you're going to come up with money. You're going to bump into someone who says, oh, let's partner up. I don't know. There's 1,000 ways that things that come up. You're just literally, sometimes what happens is you get an email that you got a new transfer of money that came in from maybe a deal that you did way back. Like that's how the universe works. God, whatever you want to call it. So if you have a scarcity mindset, you will have more things to be scarce about. On the flip side, if you have an abundance mindset, that there's more than enough to go around. I am a money magnet. Money flows to me every day in so many ways, consistently. Just so you guys know, that's the mantra that I've been saying to myself for the last decade. I'm going to repeat it again. I am a money magnet. Money flows to me every day in so many ways, consistently. And I can tell you, 10 years ago when I started that, we weren't selling real estate to the tune that we're selling it to now. We do over 700 transactions a year, my team and I. Why is that important for you to know? I get paid on 2 deals every single day. Like every single day, I get an email transfer for 2 deals that were either sold, bought, or rented. Now, some of those checks that I get every day, because it's a rental deal, my cut on that is $38.22. But it still came in. Sometimes that check is $38,000. It all started up here in the mindset. And so anything you say after the words I am is a command to your brain. Anything you say after the words I am is a command to your brain to find ways for that to happen. Hence why I say I am a money magnet. Money flows to me every day in so many ways consistently. It's why I get paid for speaking engagements, for real estate deals, for coaching. That wasn't happening when I had more of a scarcity mindset. Really quickly, another mantra that I say every single day because I want this to be bigger is I am a world-renowned speaker who gets paid $50,000 for every talk in exchange for changing people's lives. Side note, full transparency, I am currently not getting paid for you this lesson. I'm currently not getting paid $50,000 for every talk. Now, but what I'm doing is I'm commanding my brain to find all the ways that I am getting paid $50,000 for every talk, and I'm a world-renowned speaker. And more ideas start coming to me every single day. But what's next?
We have the next question from Noah. What's the ideal number of follow-ups after listing appointment without feeling like you're pestering the client?
My rule of thumb is 3 times. So I call them at, let's just say the first call is at 9 a.m. Then my second call is going to be at a different time because maybe 9 a.m. is generally not good for them. So I'll call somewhere around 5 p.m. trying to catch them getting out of work if they're like a 9 to 5er. And then my last call, it's the third call. The third outreach is at somewhere between 8 and 9 p.m. because sometimes you can catch somebody at that time. It might be a better time for them. If they don't answer any one of those calls, on that third call, I'm leaving a voicemail. In today's day and age, I'll leave a voicemail and a text message. And it's very politely saying, Bo, you're obviously busy. Whenever you have time, reach back out to me. I don't want to bother you. You have my number. Call me back. Because if they're actually still serious to list that property with you, then they're going to call you back. And if they're not going to call you back. How many times are you going to really pester them, right? I think you'll be an annoyance afterwards. If somebody doesn't reach out after the third time, what I call put them back into my follow-up, in general follow-up. I'm going to call them every 4 months and leave it. Because if they're not reaching back out to me, that means they don't want your service. It's why it's so important that you always set up a follow-up time based on the last conversation you had with them. So at the listing appointment, I'm going to say, when is good for you for me to circle back? Because you can't, like, you're not making the decision today from what you mentioned. You're not trying to manipulate them or convince them here. When is a good time? Is it Tuesdays or Thursdays? And is it during the days or the afternoons? Now, they might ghost you after telling you that Thursday in the afternoon is better. But at least you subconsciously have like a tentative date for a follow-up. You can even go the extra mile and just literally put it in your Google Calendar. It sends them an invite, so it goes into their calendar, right? You're kind of stacking the cards in your favor. But my rule of thumb is 3, and then I let them back into the wild, so to speak, in general follow-up. Bo, what's next?
Okay. Last question is from Elena. What's your guilty pleasure when you need to unwind after a hectic day of showings? A favorite snack, TV show?
That's an interesting question. Snacks. I do like to snack. I'm trying to stop the snacking, so I'm having bigger lunches and bigger dinners with more steak and more eggs that then at least keep me away from some of the snacking. I don't have too much of a sweet tooth. I have more of a salty pleasure, that being chips. And right now, for the last, I'm gonna say, couple of weeks, it's been nuts, but not the healthy type. More of the beer nuts and the salted almonds and cashews. There's like a cool mixture here down in my where my head office is in McEwen's, that has a nice little mixture that I kind of dive into. I'm gonna say probably a couple of times a week. And if it's with a tequila, Don Julio Blanco being my choice of vice when it comes to some alcohol, which I probably do a couple of days a week, not too much, one or a couple of ounces. And then in terms of shows, I'm a big movie guy. I love movies. Obviously, I don't get to them during the week, and sometimes on a weekend, Friday night, because I take Saturday off. We do Friday night movies with the kids a couple of times in a month. But myself, I've always been massive fan of Godfather, Scarface, Mobsters. I mean, you're seeing a theme here. It's just been one of my favorite kind of themes of movies. And then on Sundays / Mondays, like yesterday or a couple of days ago, it was watching the Dallas Cowboys, which probably is not good for the mental brain of mine because they're losing a lot. It's probably the worst version of myself. That's the time that my boys, 11-year-old and 9-year-old, get to hear daddy swear a little bit more than they should, because those are the days that I want to break the TV, because the Cowboys really are a bad team right now. But I've been an avid and loyal fan since I've been 12, and I'm 43 now, so a very, very long time. So that was today's episode 277. To get your question answered on sales, business, entrepreneurship, life hacks, whatever it may be, all you got to do is go to meetjazztakhar.com/podcast. meetjazztakhar.com/podcast. You put your question in there, and I'm going to do my best to answer them. See you on next episode.